I'm live. I don't know why it's not sharper, but it doesn't matter. You hear my voice? That's the main thing. I'm reading Prelude to the Landing on Planet Earth. It's a book published 1977 by Stuart Holrowyd that describes a journey of 3 people through the Middle East. I'm in chapter 5 now. Encounters with the opposition. These are channeled messages. These 3 are guided by these. Dr. Neil Hitchen is a pseudonym we will use for an acquaintance of Andrija who had had an interest in his work for many years. Formerly a leading political figure, Dr. Hitchen had more recently spent several years in education. He had begun his career, however, in the ministry, so that when he and his wife, Alice, paid a visit to Ossining and participated in some communications, it was natural that the subject of Christianity and the Church should come up. Recalling that in a recent communication Tom had said that there was a time, 2,000 years ago, when the earth was ready to make the evolutionary change now being attempted. Andrija asked if the time referred to was the period of Jesus Christ. "This is correct," Tom answered, "but we do not call him Jesus Christ, we call him the Nazarene. He was one of us. His inspirational work and healings were inspired by us, and his energy was supplied by us. We had great hopes at that time, but then you made a god of him, as you have made a god of many. This will not happen this time. There will not be one, but there will be a that this is not possible. A single individual will not return," Tom said. "There are many of you on this planet that are similar to the Nazarene. It is very important that you do not deify us. It is important that you understand that God is in each and every one of you, that God is love, and that it is love that creates the one God." Don't know what happened there. Neil Hitchen said that he would be willing to help in any appropriate way, and was wondering whether he should go back into the religious sphere, for instance by accepting an offer of the presidency of a university with religious affiliation. Tom said emphatically, "No, with them you can only go so far, because of the indoctrination they have had over 2,000 years. Neil then asked if his political connections could be of any use to the project. For instance, he could speak to people in the new president's entourage, and possibly to President Ford himself. In response to this suggestion, Tom said, "We have found in the past that when you tell people the truth, they feel threatened, or feel that it cannot be so. But if it is their thought and they come to you, they readily accept. We are grateful for your offer to help with this project. You are in a position, more than any of these beings, to help with contacts and credibility. You must you must walk softly and with patience, and you must drop the seeds." Neil and Alice, Tom said, had been under observation for some time. "We have been around you many times," he said, "and you have thought us spirits. But we are not spirits. Spirits are those that have passed on in this world and are hanging around this planet Earth. The spirits of this world that are in the atmosphere and around the bands of this world are as confused as the physical beings on this planet Earth. There are those that are evolved, but most are not. We are trying to save this planet Earth so that these spirit beings also may be released and be evolved." The Hitchens were also told that they had been together in 2 previous incarnations. No specific identities were mentioned, however, so they did not have the difficulty and embarrassment that other participants in the communications were later to have of being asked to believe that they were famous people in their previous lives. At the beginning of the next extended series of communications held at Ossining, after Arsigioli's death, Tom volunteered some information, which will be as challenging for the reader as it was for John, Andrija, and Phyllis, and no doubt will cause some to conclude that the communications must be contaminated by the unconscious of one or other of the participants. Recalling the 20th July celebration and what they had learned about their roles at that time, Tom said he would now like to take the explanation one step further. It was very important that they should now understand their special relationship to the 9. The 9 of us are in the area that you call the zone of cold. The 3 of you are here on the planet Earth. Now visualize, as we are speaking to you, of what it is transpiring. Around each of you beings there are 3 other beings which are 3 beings of the 9. This makes you then the center as 3 of the 9 surround each of you. This then feeds and nourishes and sustains you, who in turn sustain us, because without you 3 beings we cannot accomplish what is needed on this mission. You cannot be replaced, do you understand? We are honored, Andrija said, but it is difficult to understand. Tom said that there were also problems of understanding on their side. The difficulty we have is in understanding the problems you have in this gross, heavy density world that as physical beings you must exist upon. This is creating problems for our project, but the project must continue and its completion cannot be delayed. It would greatly help the project, Andrija said, if the management would provide them, as promised some time ago, with a clear statement of purpose and program imprinted on magnetic tape, so that in future there should be no ambiguities arising out of their personal interpretations of the communications and understanding of the work. The statement had not yet been received, and Andrija now asked when they might expect it. This brought from Tom a rapidly spoken reproach. We have observed a great anxiety generating around all 3 of you beings waiting for this statement and program. We have actually at many times given you part of the program before you asked, and at times after you asked, and you seem to be delayed by waiting for this program, as if you cannot go forward without it. We do not understand its importance or why you are waiting, when you already know why you are here, why we are coming, and why we are doing this work with you. We understand that you would like to relay this statement to the rest of the world, and that you feel that this would be something that could be given to the people and they would believe. But there are those that still would not believe. Do you understand? Andrija answered that they understood that, but the point was that each of them had a partial and personal understanding of the program and the philosophy, and they wanted a definite statement in order to give their group internal coherence. I'm sorry if we're transmitting anxiety, he said, but it is not a lack of faith or concern that leads to our anxiety. It is an anxiety to get ahead with the work. I hope you understand that. I understand it because I am the one that works most closely with all of you, said Tom, but the other members do not understand it. Andrija asked John to put his point of view to the council, and John said that he too was concerned that their understanding of the message and the program might be distorted in their individual interpretations, or even that the communications themselves might be distorted by the consciousness of the channel. Tom assured him that there were no distortions in the channeling. Then Andrija asked if the council now understood their anxiety, saying, "It is a kind of healthy anticipatory anxiety. I hope it has no negative connotations for you." Tom absented himself for about half a minute to consult with the council, then returned and said, "Let me explain to you their feeling. It is now the consensus among our group that the delay that was brought about in giving this statement has now caused us to take a new look at why you want this statement. I know why you want it, but when we observe you, it is as if you have put down your plough and are no longer ploughing the ground to plant the seeds because you are waiting for the horse to pull the plough. We are disturbed, the entire council is disturbed, because of your anxieties and because you are waiting only for a statement. You must understand that I am their spokesman, as I am your spokesman, and I understand why you do what you do. I'm only relating to you, the council's feelings." Andrija said that for his part he didn't see the justice of the reproach that the work had stopped. He, John, and Phyllis had all been working consistently for the cause in their different ways. "We did not say the work has stopped," Tom said. "We were speaking of within your minds. All three of you have thought that you could not really go forward until this statement has been completed. This is what we speak of." John conceded that this was true of himself, but Andrija continued to rebut the reproach. "I think what may have been interpreted as kind of stoppage is really prudence on our part," he said. "Our interest is largely in economy of effort. We want to do the right thing, so it's in this spirit that we are asking for guidance." Tom replied to this after a long pause of consultation with a strong speech and the introduction of a shift of perspective on the problem, which virtually disposed of the question and the need for a statement and program. "You know this physical world better than we know it," he said. "We need your minds and we need your energies. We suggest that you know better than we in which direction you are to go. If we feel that anything you are doing will jeopardize the program, you will be made aware of that. We cannot lay out a complete formula for you and the direction. There are things that we try to help you with, and there are things that we try to institute. From where we sit, it looks as if this may be possible or feasible, but then we find in your physical world, it is not always so. You do not understand your material world, so therefore we have to decide only when we feel the program could be contaminated or disrupted. Will we then step in? We will guide and direct you as much as we can. You can ask us if we feel you're going in the right direction or the wrong direction, but at the same time, you must realize that we do not understand this material world and physical thing that you exist with. You understand that this is the error you make with your belief. You do not understand about the material part. And that John never did get a definite statement. But after this explanation, us more as responsible partners in the project than as servants of the cause. On the 14th September, Tom brought up for the first time the subject of the opposition. Hero and John had understood why you chose, as we explained to you before, to be the final. Because of the unbalance in your planet, the negative forces have taken on power, and this has created a problem. Furthermore, Tom went on to explain, the forces of the opposition were going to be particularly active and dangerous. Our project would not be removed from danger. It was imperative that the three should remain together for the next month until the crisis period was over. The time would give all the powers of the opposition should not be underestimated. Be careful in your movement. Be careful of your electricity. Be careful with what is around you. If they remove this physical being, then they have nullified all our work. And if they remove one of you, it would be the same. Therefore, when he had driven to the airport to pick up Phyllis and John, and though through no fault of his own, he had nearly been involved in an automobile accident on 4 separate occasions, one of them on the return journey, when they were all three in the car. He asked if the experience was relevant to the situation under discussion. It was a warning, Tom said. This is going to be a very difficult time for us and for you. Part of the problem is the earthly imbalances and the three of you. We're sorry that we must bring these things to your attention, but we are at a critical time. When one of you becomes out of balance, then the negative feeds on your energy. Tom now proceeded to point out the characteristic faults of each of them, which rendered them particularly honourable. To John he said, you can be put out of balance by not listening at times. You can be out of balance by presenting a problem in anger before it starts. Then, when you are out of balance, and you become angry or fearful, the more angry or fearful you become, the more they feed on you. John said he understood this, and Tom next addressed a lecture. Be very careful, Doctor, that you do not miss some points. We know that you have a tendency to check and check and check. This was appreciated. This we appreciate but sometimes also you believe too readily. You are very trusting. You have now had an antenna added to you, and you should use your antenna to feel the vibrations. This reference to bioengineering performed upon him interested in letter, because for approximately the past 2 months he had been troubled by general itching and spots and rashes on his skin, and he had difficulty sleeping on account of excess energy. He mentioned this, and Tom confirmed that it was because of the implants, which, when functioning properly, would serve to balance the spiritual body and this is a new implant in you. And we are, he explained, it should be neutralized in a period for 4 of your years. Remember, within the physical body, and then we in turn get short-circuited. But what we would like to tell you about more than anything about the transmission, because we are mostly in control of the transmission, is the impression received during the day. There are beings that arise in the world that we must get through. This refuse to bring to attention some of the things that she feels, because she fears there will